All right, so last week was Tiger Lane #1. We're doing this recording a little bit late. We're about to run through the footage, but essentially kind of to frame the whole thing, Tiger Lane local crit series here in Memphis, Tennessee. It's going to be a Cat 1-2-3 race. We're going to be on board with Coach Dale. My camera footage, I tried the helmet cam, and
not so great.
All you could see was the ground right in front of me the whole time, like half of the person in front of me, and then that was.
Did you end up getting
that was it?
Bar mount?
I've got one on order, but apparently supply chain makes everything a lot harder.
Supply chain
issues. So we're on board. You're going to see the map in the bottom right corner. Pretty straightforward race. So it's done at a parking lot that actually runs kind of through the Liberty Bowl Stadium, and wide open area. You know, the roads are. You can't make the excuse of I wasn't able to move up. Because there's a couple of really good opportunities. Start, finish, stretch, and through the stadium, 2 really good times to move up. And then even, out of corner 2, 1 to 2, you can move up if you need to. Tonight, big crosswind.
Massive.
So at the start of the race, you're going to see it possibly.
Yeah,
but there's like dirt, leaves, trash. It was probably a 30-plus mile-an-hour gust that came through. I was really worried we were all going to stack it into corner 1. But that sort of frames the race for us. Essentially, the smaller field, we had 6 guys in it. We had the biggest team, and our goal for the race, there was 3 or 4 guys that we were worried about, and we wanted to essentially stack the deck. Anytime one of those guys was there, we wanted to make sure we had either equal or more numbers in that. And so that kind of frames the strategy. It blew up a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. So
yeah, the moral of the race here is just going to be to be aware of what's in front of you and behind you, especially if you're on a team. With the numbers we can make mistakes and still have a decent result. But here we go.
Spoiler: Dale gets pretty pissed.
I was a little upset. But if you look at the beginning here, you'll notice the wind, like the dirt and leaves and stuff blowing over our heads right before we kind of get on the move here.
And this is a fast corner anyway. This is the fastest corner in the race. So you got a hard tailwind into this right-hander, and I was worried we were all going to go straight into that fence, get caught by the wind on the side.
Yeah, I was a little timid about going into the crosswind, so I let a little bit of a gap open here, which wasn't a great idea, but.
And Ryan Delaney, out-of-towner, he said, I don't have the numbers. I'm solo. He had just won solo in the 3-4 race at the start of the day, and he's like, hey, best defense is a good offense. So he pretty much strung things out, and you could see just from Dale's power numbers back there this was a hard start to the race. And here we got Taylor on our team on the front now, essentially just keeping the pace high. What are you thinking right now?
I'm just trying to sit in and catch my breath for the most part. The heart rate numbers right now are not accurate. Later on, they're accurate. I was wearing a wrist-based Wahoo meter that was broadcasting to my.
So now watch this. So this is Peter Reed goes to the front. Strong guy. He was one of the guys we were worried about. He goes to the front, and essentially Richie Schlegel's right in front of Kellen, so 2 up from Dale here.
Sits up.
A big engine. Like we knew Richie Schlegel, he was one of the marked guys as well.
Do you see the dust blowing
in the background?
How hard? I mean.
So we got Taylor off the front with Peter now. Peter's one of the guys we're worried about. Taylor's one of our strongest dudes, so we're pretty happy about that. 2 of the other guys that we were worried about, Schlegel, we were worried about, and Mason Schofield, we were definitely worried about. They aren't in it. So in this situation, it sort of forces those 2 to have to do more work to try to catch this. So we're sitting in a pretty good position, although I would have liked to have one more person up there with Taylor for us to have two on one as opposed to 1-on-1.
It would have been ideal if Kellen had gone across right when Richie sat up.
Yeah, that was one of those split-second things. Yeah, if he'd done a quick jump on the inside, that could have given us pretty good numbers there. And now strung out again, 30 miles an hour into a crosswind here.
Yeah, the gutter over there is a non-friendly place. But as you move through, you can see through it. Like as you come into the stadium, it's super easy to move up, even though this is a block headwind. it's easy to move up if you really want to. At this point, I was looking for a draft.
Yeah, not. I think Delaney's back on the front here. Or is that the Little Rock guy? I didn't catch his name. Keeping the pace high. And then we got Schlegel, actually. And is he up at the front now? I'm trying to remember who all was up there. Oh, that's Rollins. So Scott Rollins from our team's up there pushing the pace. We find out later that Rollins, I think it got so confusing. And he thought that I believe he thought Kellen was up at the front with Peter. So, yeah, that's Rollins, Scott Rollins on the front here. Mason's on the left, so you can see me. I'm the one with the helmet cam that's pointed straight at the ground. I was wanting to mark Mason. Mason's there in the blue to the left of me. And you can see the pressure goes off right now. So it was pretty strung out through the stadium. And now this is the hard tailwind, and we're going 22.
Yeah, the gap is growing here. We're kind of letting it cool with it, growing a little bit.
So before this corner, I wanted to move up and make sure Mason wasn't able to jump before a corner or anything and get a gap that we'd have to work hard to close.
So in normal circumstances, you would not be pressing on the front when you have a teammate up the road. There was some. If you've ever done a crit, I have what's called crit brain, and so when I'm done with a race like this, I can't recall any of it.
It's a good thing we got the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy for the laps to get confused, too. You think a move happened before it actually happened. So here in a second, you're going to see Big Aaron Tabergen. He's going to come up the left side here and try to force the issue a little bit, see if he can go across. But he ends up, you can see him sneaking up the left there. Gets pretty tight, actually. But, yeah, everyone marked him. This was probably one of the bigger danger points here. You can see Kellen from our team moves up, but Schlegel's moving up the outside right now, and this is a time where things get a little bit nervous. Schlegel carries his speed, and Kellen does a great job of jumping on it right away because Mason's there as well. So you got Schlegel, Mason, and Kellen. Not a good scenario now for us. Two of the three danger guys are up the road, and we've only got two guys up the road in this situation.
Yeah, so right here coming through, I was really hoping that the Little Rock guy was going to carry us to the promised land and get us all the way up there, but he took 5 pedal strokes and gave up.
Yeah.
You went across pretty quickly. I was a little upset that I picked the wrong person to be behind there, but kind of started making my way across, putting in. The thing was, in the moral of the story here, I didn't know what was behind me. So I saw you and Scott go up the road, and I'm cool with that. You guys going and bridging up to that move, all good. Numbers are great. Had I known there was nobody behind me, I would have tried a lot harder at first to go across and probably close this a little bit quicker and not had to expend so much energy. But when we get into the stadium here, there was a little bit of a mishap where I get close to catching on, and then one of our teammates attacks.
Yeah.
Ideally, you don't do that.
And if you look at just how close, I had been peeking back, and you can see just how close you got. You end up getting on Luke here. You can tell the effort's been high just from the fact of how strung out it's been, right? So and how hard it is to close these gaps down. The pace has been high. There's already been efforts. Luke was in the earlier race, so his legs were already tired. And then kind of the theme of today, Dale spends quite a bit of time pretty darn close to catching.
I knew Luke was probably not going to pull us up after being in the first race, maybe on fresh legs. He pulled actually a pretty big effort in the first race that I knew took something out of him. So I'm just in no man's land here, and I start to get close, and then
another attack goes.
Another attack goes up the road. It's like the worst feeling in the world when you're drilling it and you get so close where you almost feel yourself coasting onto the back, and then something goes.
So right here we got myself and Rollins now with Mason. You come up on Schlegel and Kellen, who came out of the back of that, and you attack them. What was your thought there? Did you have a thought of if Kellen Schlegel and I work together. We can probably get back to that. Was that something that you thought it was going to be a bigger advantage to have you up with me and
Honestly,
Rollins and Mason, or you wanted to get over there solo
I was
without
carrying
Schlegel?
enough steam. I was carrying enough steam up to them, and I was coming up on them so fast. I actually thought they both just sat up,
Gotcha.
and I didn't think they were gonna really chase it. So I was trying not to waste time, and and like go soon, so I could try to bridge up to you guys. But,
yeah.
You guys kind of distanced me pretty quickly, and then I kind of Delaney and a couple others kind of came up right behind me a lap later, and he was dragging everyone, like he was dragging Kellen and Richie back up as well. So again, if I had known what was behind me, I probably would have set up earlier and just rode with Kellen and Richie and waited for Ryan.
Yeah.
And not had to
in a situation like
withstand
that,
one of his big surges.
Yeah. So now you've been in the wind for so long.
I'm blown.
Heart rate's not correct here. Heart rate's probably closer to what, 170?
Yeah.
Maybe a little higher.
I'm pretty smoked at this point.
What's going through your mind right now? Because this is one of the worst feelings out there, where it's like you're so close.
Well, when I came around that last turn and they were making distance in the tailwind section, I knew it was over.
Yeah.
So at that point, my brain goes to, okay, you never know what's going to happen up the road. You never know who's going to give up, that sort of thing. So I was like, just keep high tempo to threshold as long as you can, and just see where you end up.
I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but like that group of Kellen, Schlegel, and Delaney, they ended up coming back up to myself, Rollins, and Mason. And that's because we were essentially counterattacking Mason. We did not want to carry him up to Taylor, nor did we want to go to the finish line with Mason. So,
and had I not surged past them and put in that effort, and I would have probably been fresher for when Ryan and them caught me again.
Yeah.
And then I totally could have stayed on it, but I was just, you make split-second decisions. I when I was coming around solo, I saw Aaron and Luke coming up, and I was like, oh, man, 3 is better than 1. I don't want to do the rest of this race solo. So I kind of sat up and let them catch. And then Aaron kept surging, trying to drop Luke. So it ended up being a harder ride than me just riding solo.
Yeah.
Because Aaron was trying to drop Luke, and then Luke didn't want to go without Aaron, so I'd surge through and be solo for another several laps.
Yeah, we're going to see that here in a second.
They'll catch again, and then because Aaron's just an engine.
Yeah.
But it was just a surge and then a coast into a turn and then a surge, and it just wasn't the kind of riding I was prepared for at that point.
Yeah, once the heart rate's so high, that's another surge
I want
that Aaron's
steady.
doing.
If I'm like pegged, I want steady. I don't want to do a bunch of surges.
Well, and the hard part of it now, you said there was pretty much no one behind you here that you could really see, right? So you've got no one behind you. You can see in the video there's no one ahead of you. Most of our group was probably in the stadium right now on the opposite side of the course. So it's really tough you're kind of in a no man's land. Even with the other two, you're sort of in it's going to be a lot of work to go up, and if there's also a giant gap behind, so holding people off is not that big of a worry either.
So at this point, I don't know, it was like 8 to go or something when Taylor and Peter lapped me.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're not supposed to work with lapped riders, so I let them just roll on. I wasn't probably in a place to keep staying with them anyways, but letting them roll on and just kind of keeping steady, pushing through the straights, and then get caught again. And Aaron tries to lose Luke, and then I just kind of claw him back and hope that he's going to decide to ride steady from this point on. But I think they were just kind of playing their own little, having their own little race. Yeah,
you can tell Aaron's at least he's paying attention here. He's looking back. He sees that you're coming back. He waited till you got on. He goes back through, looking at your heart rate. You're 169, 170. So and it was a hot night. I should have put temperature up there. I mean, we were talking like heat index well into the 100s.
Yeah.
Temps were probably 95, 96 at this point in time. But yeah, there's no real flow to the three of you right now.
No, and when you're pegged like that, again, it makes the ride a lot harder.
Yeah.
Mentally too. So eventually, when we get back around this corner, I kind of like told Aaron that Luke's just going to follow you wherever you go. So, stop giving him what he wants.
Yeah.
So
and if you're going to attack from the back rather than surge from the front.
Yeah. So.
Did you feel like you were recovering here, or were you? I mean, you can see heart rate's up there.
I wasn't
power
recovering.
numbers are high, and they're slowly riding away from you.
There's no recovery happening. That's why I wanted to be solo again. And so around this turn, I kind of pulled up next to Aaron. I was like, look, he's going to do whatever you do.
Yeah. What I like is that you didn't throw in the towel here. Like, it would have been easy to pull the plug and, like, say, okay, I got a teammate. I'll let them fight it out. There's no one behind me. I can kind of just go steady effort. But instead, you stayed on the gas the whole time.
Well, at that point, I know it's kind of like
this looks like a little surge.
A baby surge.
Very big.
that was me cutting Luke off, and
you can see we know if it's fast forward that you're now going to be on the front for a while.
Yeah.
There's 2 laps.
But it was an hour-long race, right? So if you end up in no man's land or you end up dropped, just keep pressing. You're going to get a great workout in. How many times are you going to get in a closed course loop and just be able to put out whatever power you can or want to for however long you want to? I mean, yeah, it sucks being in no man's land, and I would have loved to be in the group up ahead, but I got in a killer workout.
Yeah, that was just 9. I just counted 9 laps that you were, again, facing the wind. So that's me coming through. I had broken away from the group and was sitting in third position right here. So Taylor and Peter, there they came past. They were well on their way to battling it out for first place. Taylor ended up getting the win. I was on the road sitting third. Rollins came up to me. He ended up going third. I went fourth. And here shortly, we're going to hear Dale's audio.
What was up when you guys attacking every time I got close to the brake? 3 times.
We're more aware, but it happens. I mean, I've made some dumb moves over the years, but we got the results that we wanted. In this case, a podium sweep would have been fantastic, but
Yeah.
2 out.
And that's
of
one of
3.
those, like, in my mind, I kept looking back and saw you, and it's like I didn't want to alert Richie, Mason, and the other guys in that move, like, hey, Dale's almost here. Like, I was hoping the pace of the group was going to slow down so you could catch on. Unfortunately, the attacks kept coming. So something we spoke about as a team, and I think that's another important thing to talk about. If you race with a team, make sure you guys talk about what went well and what didn't after the race. Like, everyone sees a race differently, so communicating post-race. Someone may have done something on your team that you're like, why in the heck did they do that? And in their own mind, based on how they were reading the race, they thought that was the best thing to do. So get together, learn from it, and then try to apply everything you've talked about to the next race,
like I said,
which is coming up.
Whatever you want to call it, race brain, crit coma, whatever. That's
What happens at 100? When your heart rate's maxed out and legs are hurting and there's people all over the place, things get confusing. So,
but the goal is just to improve every race and learn from it, learn from your mistakes, and keep on improving.
All right, we'll be coming at you with another video from tonight's race. So July 7th, we are racing again. I'm hopefully gonna have my camera in a much better position. So we're gonna come at you with another video. If you like this one, give us a comment, subscribe so you can be alerted when this next video comes out, and then I guess we'll catch you on the next one.
Sounds good.
Peace.
Adios.